How's it going, YouTube? Tyler, the Hotshot Hauler here, guys. Guys, now that the business is officially shut down, we have had time to, look back on the last year and think about, mistakes we made, stuff we would have done differently, stuff we did good, all that type of stuff. So I want to bring a video to you guys talking about things that I would have done differently to start in the hotshot trucking business, okay? So, first and foremost, number one, I would have started CDL. The reason for this is because the more time you spend in the market, you're going to realize that as non-CDL, you're very limited and you're going to want more. When you're first starting out, you're learning, you're having a good time, you're having lots of bad times. But the more you get into it and the less mistakes you start making, eventually you start chasing dollar signs. You get out of the mentality of, hey, it's okay to not really make money. I'm learning, this is expected. Eventually that turns into, okay, hey, if I'm not making this much money each week, I'm wasting my time. The longer you're in business, the more and more money you're going to make. And then eventually you're going to realize it's almost impossible to make over a certain amount of money. I will be making a video talking about that later on. Definitely starting as CDL, it would have opened up so many more doors, but I wish that at month 6, I could have switched over to CDL from non-CDL, but that's also not realistic. Unless if you are made of money and just can dish out hundreds of thousands of dollars. When you start non-CDL, guys, it's tough to get to CDL in a very short amount of time. Which brings me to point number 2. If you have to start as non-CDL, starting as non-CDL has a lot of perks. Its perks are that, well, one, it's cheaper to start up. You have to deal with less stuff. You don't have to deal with drug consortium or IFTA. And your operating expenses are lower, okay? Your overhead is cheaper, I should say, okay? Your insurance is going to be a lot cheaper because you're running smaller trucks. Your startup expenses are going to be less. Obviously, a 3,500 1-ton is more expensive than a 2,500, so on and so forth. A 40-foot trailer, CDL size trailer is much more expensive than a non-CDL trailer, okay? So starting non-CDL is a great way to get your foot into the door and to learn lots of lessons and to see if you really want to do it. Because the last thing you want to go out and do, guys, is spend even more money getting into this CDL side of it and not like it. So from my opinion on it, guys, getting into the business as non-CDL to see if you like it and get your feet wet and learn your mistakes is fantastic. But you need to be able to get yourself out of that if you so choose you want to upgrade. And that was something that I could not do. When you buy your equipment, okay, let's say you start as non-CDL, like what I did. I went out, I bought a brand new truck and technically 3 brand new trailers by the time it was all said and done. Okay, that's over about $120,000 worth of equipment. For me to basically sell everything off and go CDL, I would be looking at spending probably about an additional $30,000 to $50,000, somewhere in that range. And then that would mean only having 1 truck and 1 trailer. I believe in having a backup, especially for a trailer. For example, I had a trailer go down for almost a month because of warranty, okay? If I wouldn't have had a second trailer, I would have been dead in the water. So I am a believer of having backups if possible. I do not want to be in a situation like me where I wanted to expand and I wanted to grow, but I couldn't afford to basically sell everything off, spend even more money, and then start CDL. It wasn't realistic. So if you are going to start non-CDL, I would recommend maybe buying used equipment. Buy a used trailer, buy 1 trailer, and buy a used truck and see if it's something you want to do. After about 6 months, you're going to know, okay, hey, do I want to stick with this or do I not? But it's a lot easier for you to upgrade if your startup cost, because you're not getting all brand new equipment. If you can cut your startup cost significantly in half, that saves you money. Granted, though, then obviously with used equipment, you run into the odds of more breakdown chances and stuff like that. It's always a dice roll with that type of stuff, guys, but don't cut yourself out of the ability to upgrade like what I did. I guess that's the point to take out of it, okay? Next mistake that I made is my trailer selection. If I were to have done it all over again and been non-CDL, I would have had one 40-foot trailer for running the road, and I would have had a shorter trailer, probably about a 26-foot trailer for running local work. That was just because I had so much local work. The shorter trailers are easier to maneuver in the cities, and you can carry a lot more weight. The big thing is, guys, I wish I would have not listened to many YouTubers out there. Many channels out there, and I have preached this on my channel. Guys, there's a lot of people out there that are full of shit. That is the reality. And until you get into the business, you really don't know anything. And even when you're in the business, you're still learning stuff constantly. You're learning hard lessons all the time. And the reality is, guys, the hotshot trucking market was so saturated in the last couple years because of social media influencers. So many people that got into the hotshot trucking market thinking that they had struck it big, just like the gold rush back in the day. And the market became incredibly saturated with people who were influenced from YouTubers. And too many YouTubers out there went out and made it seem like you could make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year like it was nothing. And you hardly had to work, and it was just handed to you on the silver platter. But what they don't tell you is, okay, let's say you do make $150,000 a year gross as a hotshotter, okay? Immediately, just not even, for the easiest way to break that down is automatically 33% of that probably went to direct expenses. 33% of after that probably went to planned expenses if you're running a business correctly. So that only leaves you with $50,000. Let's do a little bit of math here, okay, guys? On average, as a owner-operator, you are probably going to work between 60 to 80 hours a week, okay? Let's just say you work 60. I will tell you, you're probably going to work closer to 80, but let's just say you're lucky and can only work, and you only have to work 60 hours a week. If you work 60 hours a week, that comes out to just over 3,100 hours a year of time worked. Okay, let's just knock that down to 3,000 hours. Here's some perspective, guys. If you work 40 hours a week in a regular job, you work 2,080 hours in a year. So you are working basically an extra 1,000 hours per year. Okay, you're not being paid overtime, and you're not having benefits, you're not having retirement, you're having to deal with all of these other factors. So if you're working 3,000 hours a year, realistically, your gross income, if you're running your business correctly, is probably anywhere from 40 to maybe 60,000 a year if you're really, really lucky. But realistically, as a non-CDL, it's probably about 40,000. Okay, because you're realistically probably only going to gross total about 120K as non-CDL in a year. So, if you are working 3,000 hours a year and you're bringing in 40,000 gross, that's $13 an hour, guys. $13 an hour, and you're working all the time. My advice on this boils down to this. Hotshot trucking is a very difficult industry to make money in. Okay, it is a cutthroat business across the trucking industry, and starting at non-CDL, you are at the very, very, very bottom. Okay, it is a great way to, if you want to try it as non-CDL, but make sure you set yourself up for success. So if you like it and you want to actually make a go for it, the only way to make a living as a hotshot trucker is to be a CDL hotshot. That is the reality. As a CDL hotshot, your world of opportunity increases tenfold. The more weight you can carry and the bigger size cargo you can carry, the more money you are going to make. That is what it boils down to. You are going to have a very, very tough time making a living, unless if you are just supporting yourself, running non-CDL hotshot. That is the reality, guys. Unless if you're going to pull all the money out of the business and destroy your equipment to keep your family afloat or however your finances are, that is the reality. Try it as non-CDL if you have to, but my advice, don't waste your time and go CDL, because you are going to get yourself into a financial hole where you can't get out, like what happened to me. And I looked at my numbers, I looked at the economy, I looked at the market, and I said, we're done. There is no reason to try to sit here and fight a failing economy, a failing freight market, and being at the very bottom with the least amount of freight options of anybody. There is no reason to play the game longer than you have to. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, guys. I will be still making videos, some revolving around Hotshot Trucking lessons and stuff like that, and the content will keep pushing out videos until we figure out a solid path for the future of the channel. So thank you guys, and appreciate you watching.